We begin with breaking news on the resumption of the NBA season. The National Basketball Association Board of Governors has voted to approve a 22-team, single-site format to restart this season amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And I want to run you guys through the plan here. The NBA, of course, has 30 teams, but the bottom 8 in the standings, they're just going to stay home because the fewer teams you invite, the fewer people you have to keep safe from coronavirus. Now, the top 22, they're all going to stay together at ESPN's Wide World of Sports complex at Walt Disney World in Orlando. They won't get to play all the regular season games that were left on their original schedules, but they will play 8 of them. And then we will check the standings. If either in the East or the West, it's close between the number 8 and number 9 teams, and in this case, close means within 4 games, then those 2 teams will stage a play-in game. But the NBA does want to give some advantage to the higher seed, right? So here's how they're going to do it. If the team in the 8th spot wins that play-in game, that's it. Bye-bye, number 9 team, go home. If the number 9 seed wins, though, the higher seed gets a second shot at things. The 2 teams come back the next night to play each other all over again. And only then is it winner take all, with the winner getting the conference's final playoff spot. Then we start the real playoffs, all like normal, divided into East and West, 7-game series each round, and hopefully a champion at the end. We're all crossing our fingers for that champion, Woj. I welcome in ESPN senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski, who broke this story earlier this week. And Woj, I just ran through all the things that have been decided. What do you think is the next biggest point of contention they still have to determine?
Well, there's the formality, Rachel, of the Players Association's team reps voting on Friday. They've set up a call tomorrow, and the team reps are expected to approve this proposal. As you know, the Players Association and Adam Silver and the league, they've been working hand in hand for months on the details of this plan, but they'll formally vote tomorrow. And then there's still the process of the kind of testing that they're going to put in place, solidifying that with Florida health officials and Walt Disney World. And I think many of those are all steps that the league's going to get to with the Players Association and get to ultimately tipping off July 31 in Orlando. I'm told July 9th, 11th, right in that window is where teams will start arriving in Orlando.
Yeah, and the testing, as you mentioned, is going to be such a huge component of this. The entire reason we are having this discussion and doing all of this in the first place is we are still facing a global pandemic, and trying to figure out how they are going to manage that on this campus is going to be a conversation we're going to have again and again over the next couple weeks. I think we're also going to be talking, Woj, about how the league is going to piece together the schedule, because strength of schedule down the stretch is going to be such a factor in whether anyone makes one of those play-in games and what the playoff seeding is. How are they going to do it?
Well, Rachel, essentially they're going to take the games that teams had remaining they're going to play 8 games, and the next 8 games that teams had when the season was shut down, however many of those they're able to play in Orlando among the 22 teams there. And then if there are, obviously, many teams will have had games scheduled with some of the 8 that aren't there, and they're going to have to put the shell of a schedule together that reflects what they had left. And as you said, the strength of schedule. Memphis had a much tougher road to finish their season than New Orleans does, than Portland did, and that is expected to be reflected in the schedule of those regular season games. And then ultimately there'll be a play-in for the 8th seed with a 9th seed if that 9th seed is within 4 games in the standings of the 8th seed at the end of the regular season.
And it seems like strength of schedule shouldn't be that big a deal, but you and I know when we have front office people conversations, I spoke to someone who had an easier strength of schedule down the stretch, and he said, we played all the hard games. That's why we are where we are in the standings. The other team should have to play the hard games too. We will see how that works out. Now, you also reported on the key dates heading into next season. The draft lottery is set for August 25th now. The draft is going to be October 15th. But the biggest news in your reporting for me, Woj, is that next season is going to start on December 1st and not Christmas Day like so many of us thought. What is the reasoning there?
I think one factor, Rachel, it potentially gives the NBA and its players, not just on Team USA, but NBA players who play for teams and countries all over the world, a chance to be part of the 2021 Olympic Games. I do believe that that was part of the thinking there, to try to sync the schedule with the rescheduling of these 2020 games to 2021.
That's so interesting. We will have to see, of course, if there is an Olympics. There are so many questions. I did notice with the draft lottery being August 25th, that seems to answer one of the questions about how they are going to rank teams, who's going to be in the draft lottery, if they are going to wait until teams make the playoffs. August 25th seems like they are waiting for that. They are going to wait to see what happens in those play-in games. But, of course, we are waiting for the final word. And we know, Woj, when it happens, you will bring it to us first. Thanks so much for joining the show.
Thanks,
We'll be hearing from you a lot in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.